Hey folks, welcome to the Mediocre Cover Band Guitar Guy. So, it's probably going to be a short video. I'm not sharing any licks or anything, just playing some tremolo from my amp and my strat here for the intro. Nothing special, as usual, I guess. But anyway, got into before I start. Thank you for the support. Once again, I always like to thank anybody who watches the videos. And I want to thank everybody who subscribes. I really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to the old guy. Once again, you like what you see, subscribe. You want to feel better about your own playing by watching what I do and knowing that you can do better, subscribe. Got into a conversation with a friend of mine just a little bit ago, probably about a day or so ago, about lead singers. And he was like, man, what's the deal with lead singers? Why do they, blah, blah, blah. And my response to him was, man, it's not all lead singers. I said, I think singers get a bad rap in general when it comes to being the person who's the diva or hardest to get along with in a band. And pretty much every band I've been in, I've only ever really, in 30 years, had an experience with one person who's a little bit diva-ish in a band, and that didn't last very long. It was like probably 4 jams and it was done. And I might have been about 18 or 19 when that happened, so 51 now. So that's a pretty good record. In the bands and my experiences that I've had, man, I've played with a guitar player in probably 4 bands, and this dude was like a real cockbag. And oh, what a fuck knuckle! He quit all 4 bands for the same reason, and it all had to do with ego. Okay, like him not being at the forefront. I told the story a while ago about dealing with 2 guitar players and his issues with volume and shit like that. But his attitude was also very sucky, and he wanted to be out front. He couldn't pick licks off records. He couldn't read tab. I can't read tab either. I explained that, but like I can pick bits and pieces out. So when it came time to learn the songs we were learning, we didn't have YouTube. You basically had fast forward and rewind on cassette tapes, and he could never lift licks. Like he couldn't even get the rhythm parts, so he would come to my house on Friday nights and spend hours upon hours upon hours with me showing him how to play the songs. And he had to learn the solos. He said, I'm not going to be a rhythm player. I've got really cool equipment. He had long hair, shit, and he wanted to play leads. So I had to show him how to do all that. And then when it didn't go his way, he would quit. So there's diva number 1. I've been in bands with bassists who in one case quit because he thought he was too good for the band and he was a real shit musician, and replaced him with a guy who basically came in and took over the band and gradually got everybody else to leave and bring his buddies in because they needed a drummer, and we had a really good drummer at the time. And ended up the only original member of that band left was the drummer, and they fell apart because of ego. And once again, I played with drummers who've had issues with ego years and years ago, like back in the 90s when everybody was listening to alternative rock and shit. But like I said, I dealt with one singer that I really had a problem. I had another guy who sang and played guitar and wrote his own songs. He thought he was better than what he was, but he wasn't demanding or hard to get along with or anything like that. But the drummer in that band didn't want to jam. He thought it was a waste of time. He just wanted to do everything fly off like the off the hook, like, because he said rehearsing was just too time consuming. And even though we gigged at the time throughout like a bit of the 90s, I think We could have been a lot better, but he didn't want to jam. He just thought it was a waste of his time to do so. So, you know, bassist, guitar players. I played in a band with a keyboard player for 5 minutes who was just, man, oh, what a fuck ass that guy was. But anyway, what is, rarely been the singer for me. So I think it boils down to these people that have problems just happen to be singers, but they have these personalities anyway. Whether they're going to sing in a band or whether they're singing in a band or not, they're going to act that way. They're going to have this role of entitlement and that they are better than what they are. Like, I know we got every time we played a gig during the whole COVID thing, and every time up to recently, we get this one guy who comes to the bar that we play primarily a lot in, and his band was booted out of there years ago. They were given several chances, shit set list. That's not coming from me, that's coming from somebody who works at the bar. And he comes in with his nose in the air and thinking, we should be in here, I should be in here, I'm this, I'm that. And he posts his videos and, but he's got that attitude. So I think what I'm getting at there is that that's his attitude in life about himself. I'm good looking, I'm good at everything, that's it. It has nothing to do with being a singer. I think it's just his attitude in life. Everything he approaches. I also grew up with a guy, and I told this story before as well, who was a guitar player who excelled at guitar really quickly because he had no friends really, just me and another guy that were sort of pitying and hanging out with him or forced. And he had that same attitude, and it had nothing to do with playing guitar. He just thought he was it. So it's not a thing, really. I don't think, like, people say, oh, lead singer disease, this and that. I think that some of these people that you have problems with are just people with big personalities who happen to say, I'm going to be a singer in a band. And not all of them are great singers, so they just end up singing. And some people, I guess, if you obtain, like, in a professional sort of setting where you're making your living at it, recording records, and you have a following, yeah, sure, maybe it goes to your head, but that happens to a lot of musicians, whether you're a guitar player, drummer, or whatever. But, the other thing is singers are there, they're, in the forefront. Everybody's paying attention to your singer. So sometimes they know that and it goes to their head, I guess. But once again, that's the personality, whether they're singing or not. So I think singers get a bad rap sometimes with the whole LSD, lead singer disease thing. And I think there are some generally good people out there who are singers, who love to sing and love to be a part of a band. And people say, well, singers aren't musicians, they don't play an instrument. But reality is they are their instrument. And the instrument comes from them. Like they and they have to get out there and take that, sort of, it's a very personal thing because it's you and it's just coming out of you and everybody's waiting for you to sing that song. They don't know the guitar solos when they hear it, the majority of them, only other musicians. They don't know all the bass runs. They don't know every drum fill, but they know the words and they know the vocals and what the vocals should sound like. So I think they get a bad rap because I think it can't be easy doing that. I can't sing and I've never fronted a band, so I don't know. So that was the conversation we had, and anybody else who watched, the 3 or 4 guys that are going to comment on my video here, what do you think about it? Like, do you think all singers are tarred with that brush, or do you think that it can go, like I said, drummers and bassists and keyboard players and other guitar players that I've been in bands with have had the same issue? So really egotistical on that end, more so than singers. I've got to say, I've had more second guitar player problems in a band than I have singers, and for some reason bassists. So go figure. Alright folks, that's it for me. Have a good evening. Once again, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. We're getting close to 300 people. I don't know why I said we're getting close. I don't know, maybe I'm referring to myself as a bunch of people, I guess. But anyway, have a great evening, folks, and stay safe.